righty. So everybody, good morning. Happy Thursday. Hopefully you're doing well. Excited for this episode because it's right up our alleys. And when I say we, I mean all three of us. I think this is Dan. I think in the 4 years we've been doing this is the first like recruiting software we've had, right?
Second, there's Carrot.
There was Carrot, yes. So second one, yeah.
It can only go up from there.
Carrot fertility.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, another Carrot. Yeah. Anyways, all that being said, excited to have y'all today. Before we dive in and give Dave a quick intro about who he is and EndorsedAI and dive into this software, wanted to obviously give a quick rundown of what this thing is in case if you come across this now or in the future. So there's a podcast that Dan and I started 4 years ago with our friend Jake. He's still alive, but he's like not with us, like as in like doing the podcast anymore. I always have to make that perfectly clear. He's still alive. So basically, we've pivoted a few times for pretty much what our goal is here in Unicorn Founders is bring on companies doing really cool shit that you probably haven't heard of yet. And so excited to hang out with David and talk about EndorsedAI. So let's go ahead and dive in, man. David, give us a quick background about you real fast, just as a human being, and then talk super high level about EndorsedAI, and then we'll just ask you a bunch of questions.
Yeah, geez. A human being. I've been building startups for most of my career, mostly recruitment tech. I live in San Francisco. And yeah, I'm pretty passionate about just the matching problem behind like, how do you find a company the best candidate? And then how do you find a candidate the best job where they can get the most compensation and just add more value to the world like that. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a background.
I love it. So real quick, I do want to set the stage. Talk about your career though, because I mean, you've held positions in the hiring recruiting space, right?
Yeah. So I founded a freelance marketplace and worked on that for about 4 years. We got backed by Y Combinator, served thousands of clients on that. And that was where I first started thinking, well, how do you really find the best person for the job? And we did something that was extremely difficult, which was we built a marketplace where you could hire and actively have someone start with high skilled labor within minutes. So like imagine you're trying to finish a website, like a Squarespace website. You want to launch your company like this week. You're trying to do it on your own. You can't figure it out. You could hire a designer within minutes on our platform that was very good. And they would actively help you finish the project. And you could basically finish same day. So it was an extremely difficult logistical problem. And from the perspective of just finding people with that level of expertise. So that made me start thinking, I realized then something really interesting was happening with that, which was we were able to get designers double their hourly rate with this. And then what happened was the websites that were built on an overall hourly basis, like for hours billed, in like 5 times less. So we were building like $2,500 websites for like $500. Wow. So a good match like that, where the work is done in the right way, can really have a lot of leverage on both the company and the employee. So that was sort of this mind-blowing moment, and I realized, it's really like the problem of recruiting is a matchmaking problem, which you can distill down to basically data and algorithms. So it started with that, and I was really fascinated on just that piece. So before Endorsed, what I'm working on now is a senior PM at a company called Brain Trust, which they have about 1 million talent in the network now. It's a decentralized talent network, more or less a recruitment marketplace where companies could come find talent to hire. And there I was, it was sort of the perfect job for me at the time because it was over matching. So as a senior PM over matching, which meant that I was able to laser in and build like the V1 matching algorithms with the teams, and then any kind of product that was helping companies find talent and talent find jobs. So a lot of search and filter features and things like that. And then the interesting thing with generative AI that happened was that all came out and it just basically reset everything. Like I built these systems a few times in the past, but now like everything needed to be rethought from first principles because these AIs can read unstructured data. What does that mean? Like if you're building one of these systems in the past, you'd have to basically tag everyone with like, all right, this person is like an engineer that knows JavaScript, tag. And then you'd have to ask them like, all right, how many years of experience do you have in JavaScript? So it was this very difficult problem to solve just from a data entry perspective. Like, how do you have to get the candidate to like enter those fields in a database, which that's a lot of work to ask them to do. Now you can just have the AI read the resume and see how many years of experience they have. So
Right.
you don't have to ask the candidate anything, and you can unlock way more information with unstructured data, which unstructured data, as an example, would be like a resume. It's just a big blob of text. You're not like categorizing each piece of the resume like LinkedIn would, where there's 20 different database fields under the hood, or probably even way more than that. Yeah. So
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was basically like, how do you rethink this from first principles? Like, what's possible now that we have this new technology? And it really needed to be built from scratch. So that led me to work on Endorse today and just focus on really like, how do we build the best matching system possible from first principles with this new technology that's out there.
So question. I want to talk about your platform, Taylor. If we could pull up the website too, I think that'll help explain as well. So I know one of the things, having been in the recruitment industry now for almost 13 years now, there's always been this idea of bots and rejection, and now there's this new worded AI that's permeating everywhere in society now. This discussion of like machines and systems are keeping us down. And we got the chance to talk, and that's the reason I'm not getting hired for this job, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about your platform, kind of explain a little bit more about how AI is actually helping better connect the right people with the right jobs, and it's not just this machine bot thing that's trying to kick you while you're down in the recruitment process, which is already kind of broken, and it's a lot of nameless, faceless people. I want to make sure there's not some sort of algorithm trying to keep me from getting my dream job.
Yeah, totally. Do you want me to just share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, please.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the idea of building a job applicant screener is something that historically candidates especially hate. They're like, oh God, is some AI going to like look at my resume and then just filter me out? It's the biggest fear. And now I go so far as arguing that if you're recruiting and not using an AI, you're doing the candidates a massive disservice. And if you're a candidate, you actually really, really want the recruiter to use an AI. Why is this? So I'll start with historical systems. Like the difference between like AI in the past and now, very, very different. AI in the past, generally dumber than people. AI plus AI now can sort of like fill in a bunch of knowledge gaps that a person doesn't have. And I'll use an example. Like one of my good friends, actually a few days ago, he's applying to jobs right now. And he's very talented. He's very, very talented, but he's not good at writing resumes. So he was at this one company where the company basically dissolved and he was only there for a few months. So if you look at his resume, it's like a few months of time where he's at this company, and he didn't mention the company dissolved at all, right? So if you're a recruiter, what are you doing? You're actually biased as a recruiter. You have what's called presentation bias that's happening, where you're seeing the presentation bias and perception bias. So you're looking at that and saying, okay, this person's only there for a few months. They either got fired and they're not good, or they're disloyal. Both of which are wrong in this case, because the current company he's been at for a very long time. He's actually very loyal and he's actually very good. So what happened was he wasn't getting any responses from his application. And then he asked me like, hey, what do you think? You talk to recruiters all day. I was reading his resume and I was like, man, there are a lot of yellow flags here. And one of the biggest ones, they're all yellow flags that I was like, if you just added clarity, it wouldn't be there. And one of the biggest ones was, say that the company, didn't work out, and like what happened with the company and why, you're only there for a few months. He corrected that and a few other things. And like within 24 hours, he has one of the best companies in the world, most competitive companies in the world, reaching back out to an interview.
Yeah.
Example where if a recruiter was using a product like Endorsed, they would have known this, because we can make the AI know all those sorts of things about companies. So we don't actually filter anyone out. We only rank candidates in the order in which they are most likely to be a good fit for your job, based on the unique criteria of the job description, what your company is, like the culture, what the hiring manager is looking for. So no one is actually getting removed. It's just enabling recruiters to spend most of their energy on the people that are the best fit, so they don't have people like my friend that slip through the cracks.
Yeah. I think one of the things that, in this industry, and if you're not in recruiting or you've not really been exposed to it, you don't kind of realize just the sheer volume of applicants and things that can get missed. I was just looking it up. The numbers out there are a little wonky, but somewhere between about 100 and 250 applicants apply per job, most of which are usually not qualified. And so LinkedIn has made it really easy with Easy Apply. A lot of these job boards have now made it easy with Easy Apply. And we were talking about it before that if you have to screen through that many resumes, are just natural, get human fatigue over it, right? Your eyeballs get tired, your brain gets fatigued. And so what we were talking about is this process can really allow you to invest and spend time on those that are the best fits for the role to make sure that you're not potentially missing out on a great candidate that happens to be the 176th person that applied. Now the chances of you getting a job that you're qualified for are going to be increasing while removing some of the signal through the noise, right? Or finding the signal through the noise is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, Dan, you're hitting the nail on the head here. Like, if you're a lot of times, there will be like someone who's actively in school. They might be a sophomore in college, and they're like, well, maybe I can get the senior engineer job at Google.
Why not?
Yeah, the percentage likelihood of that happening is very, very slim, right? So what's happening is that candidate is taking energy away from the recruiter who really needs to be looking at the people that are more on the margin line, where they're going to universities that maybe are international, the recruiter's never heard of, who knows how good they are.
Sure. Yeah.
Are working at companies that are very, very competitive companies. They're very talented, but the recruiter doesn't know what the company is, and the recruiter needs to research that. Those are the candidates that really need to be looked at, I think. And right now, like if you're a recruiter, these recruiters are getting swamped with job applicants, like hundreds of applications, thousands of applications. In some cases, I've seen tens of thousands of applications for
sure
companies. And if you're a recruiter, the bigger problem is just human fatigue. It's going to take you hundreds of applications reviewed before you find one person you're going to interview sometimes. So
right.
Yeah.
You're also assuming that the person, sorry to interrupt, but you're also assuming that the person that's screening through these resumes is qualified enough to know not just what the company is, but what's important in that job, right? And there's some recruiters that are very specialized in one area and they become subject matter experts on hire in that particular field. There's a lot of generalists in recruiting that are recruiting for customer service folks, an HR person, a communications director, and 5 full stack engineers, and then a Databricks senior engineer. And you're like, how am I supposed to know all this stuff, right? Like that is going to help that person that might be in that kind of position, apply to that kind of company, to be better understood and certainly help the recruiter understand that person a little bit more.
So yeah. I want to share a screen real quick. I pulled this up and I want to show everybody what recruiters look at, just so people are like, oh, AI is going to take my job, right? So hold on real quick.
I hope so. I've been trying to work at a wine shop for a long time, so waiting for that day I can take my job.
All right. So I don't know how well.
Taylor, right click on that photo, open it to a new tab, and then you can look.
There you go. It's just popping up, so it's kind of have a problem.
No, you got to unshare your screen and reshare that tab.
Okay.
Sorry, we're doing this in real time. That's what you get with unicorn finders, real time.
Nothing is polished ever with us. Yeah, I'm still getting this like weird privacy error here. Let me just take a screenshot and let me see if I can't that'll help. Ooh. Because what I want to get at here is to show people like what a typical view is that like we see and how it's just not good. So hold on, let me see if I can't do this right here.
Oh yeah, like the view that you as a recruiter are looking at if you're
So this is like what it typically. No, I don't think it's gonna. All right, hold on. I'll see if this works. Does this work? Yes, perfect. So this is what if you use the most more known posting tool, Broadbeam, right? So this is like what a recruiter sees. This is what Dan and I see all the time, used to, at least on
Not
my
anymore.
part.
Yeah.
So if you see here, all you see is a person's name, where it came from, the source, and the time. So for us, there's no way to sort anything. And to be honest with you, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you can even source on date and time. Everything's just chronological from
from when they applied.
Yeah, from when they apply. So like the best candidate could be buried in the stack, but because of fatigue, we never got to them.
Right.
And so,
and I know the common trope is just, man, well, what do recruiters do all day besides just look at resumes? It's like, that's the point, right? It's like, if all you're going to do is take a look at resumes all day, then if you, the job applicant, because like, I know that there's like, again, this like idea out there that like recruiters are trying to play gatekeeper and not try to fill jobs. Like, I assure you that they want to. They look better when they send the right candidates over and everything else, but there's just not a lot of tech. Because I think a lot of it is, David, you mentioned it's unstructured. First of all, when it comes to a resume, but also like you're talking about your friend, like a lot of people don't know how to write resumes, right? And a lot of people don't. There's so many different ways to do it. There's so many best tips that are usually wrong, and there's bad tips that are like, or people say don't do this when you should do this. But everybody has different views of what they should put in a resume and how well they write it. And in reality, it's like, most people just want you to be able to put in what you've done, what your experience is, and what you're tangibly able to provide for the company. But if you're not good at putting that information in, or the way you structured your resume is such that it's hard to understand or hard to follow, like a lot of times they are just going to get missed over because it's like, I've got to work with speed and I've got to work quickly, rather than, hey, is there something out there that can make me work as quick but do my job better? And that's where I think something like this comes in. There's no robot auto rejecting you, by the way, in this platform. Just want to put that out there for the internet.
Yeah. There's nothing, no automatic decisions made. Like a recruiter's still able to review everyone. It's just what's the order in which you're reviewing people, and what's the reasoning for why they are in that order. This is really what we do.
Dave, I'm going to pull up my screen again. Can you walk through kind of this? I mean, obviously we're not going to watch the Loom video per se, but like, can you talk about kind of what we're looking at here just from this screen grab?
Yeah, definitely. So the big things are that, of course, you have the resume on the right, so you can see the actual content there. But on the left, you're looking at this resume assessment. That's the thing that I think is worth zooming in on.
Can you zoom in just a little bit, Taylor?
I'll do my best.
Control plus now. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Close that thing out on the right where I'm asking if anyone needs help.
David, how are you doing both at the same time?
Yeah. So if
here, I'm gonna take a screenshot, see if I can.
Basically what's going on here is that you're able to tell the AI what you're looking for. You as the recruiter, just like you'd be looking on your own. For example, like you may want to see, when did someone graduate, right? Like there's sort of a mental algorithm that's going on in recruiters' heads that we find, where they're looking at X, Y, and Z. They're probably 5, 10 things. And you just tell the AI, okay, look for these things. So the AI is able to run the same mental algorithm that you are, and then call out the things that the candidate either has or doesn't have, and then explain why. So
David, is there, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what's happening in that resume assessment section, if you were to look at that.
David, does it learn? So obviously I know you can put criteria in there. Is there ways for the platform, maybe this is years down the line, right? But is there a way for a platform to learn, hey, these are the types of people that we've hired in the past. Maybe they have, come with 4 years of experience rather than 3, or vice versa, whatever it might be. Is there a way for somebody to learn, or the system to learn, hey, these are the folks that have been successful hires for us in the past?
Yeah, great question. That's something that is not currently, we don't currently have that, but that's something that's on our priority list to do. So
okay, cool.
I think you'll be seeing something like that from us on the order of months.
Okay.
Cool. David, since I got this pulled up now, do you want to walk through this real quick?
Yeah, definitely. And I could also do the screenshot that you're looking at. It's actually about 8 months old too. I could show a more recent version.
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Zoom in on that. Yeah, do you want me to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, go ahead and press present down at the bottom, and then you select your screen, and then I have to throw it up on the screen.
All right. Let's see if we can pull this off here.
And again, for everybody tuning in, we are not polished.
Yeah, we're doing this real time. Sometimes this is where the conversations go. No, I think from a go ahead. From a recruiter perspective, I think what David's doing allows your job to be done more efficiently, allows those that are good fits for a role to be seen, and it also allows those that might be seen as marginal fits, that somebody that's looking at it may not be fully aware of what a certain tech stack is or what a certain company does, to be able to allow them to make sure that they get their eyeballs seen as well. So go ahead, David.
Cool. Can you guys see this there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is all fake data. But what's going on here is that the AI is reading each of these pieces of criteria, looking at the resume of the candidate and any other data too. Like we're able to look at external data beyond the resume as well to gather things like information about people's companies, things like that. So the evaluation is right here, and you can see like we want to see was this person most recently a software engineer and not in a management role. This is something that a lot of recruiters will want to look at. And in this case, you can see this person was senior backend engineer, so that criteria is met. And if we mouse over the piece of criteria, you can see that the application lists the recent role was senior backend engineer at Okta, which is a software engineering position, not a management role. So the AI is assessing whether or not the candidate meets or doesn't meet each of the pieces of criteria. You can see that not everyone in this, this demo list is perfect, but even if you're not perfect, you're more perfect than the other people as far as the fit. And again, no one's filtered out. It's just a new ranking. So if you were to imagine the current way that recruiters are looking at candidates, it's effectively in random order. So, there are only 40 candidates in the stack, but the first person's doesn't meet any of the criteria, right? So Louisa does meet a lot, but then we scroll down and it's pretty scattered list. So because you're able to have everyone in the a stack rank of most likely to be the best fit, you can kind of allocate the best energy that you have, which is right when you start the applicant review on the people most likely to be a good fit. Yeah.
And so this then, if I saw some screens right, this is a separate SaaS platform that's a web application that then sits, and then you can click into your applicant tracking system, a Bullhorn, a Greenhouse, a Taleo, whatever, whoever you guys work with. You can click into there, and then you can run through the process on that. And so this would be your job posting platform, and then from there you can advance, reject, etc. And then you can. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, cool. That's a really good thing to call out. Is this sits on top of your existing ATS? So if you're using Bullhorn or Greenhouse, it syncs all of your candidates and your jobs inside of Endorsed, and then ranks them. And then what you can do is advance, hold, or reject candidates inside of Endorsed, and then that gets triggered to change their stage inside of your ATS, and then also trigger any.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
Yeah, it triggers an email automation in there. So very tight integration into the ATS, and it basically just replaces your reviewing interface. It's just a really good reviewing interface for you, which, if you're spending, hours per day or hours per week in that reviewing interface, you would just do it in Endorsed instead.
So do you post jobs through this as well? Would this become your job posting platform as well?
No.
Okay, cool.
All that's done just through the ATS. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And could I use this platform, and maybe this is something down the line, to be able to then go through, this would be people that applied, right? You could not create a criteria in Endorsed to query through your database to find certain points, could you?
Like past applicants?
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. That's something that also is high up on our roadmap, coming in the order of months, where, one of the things that often, I think is the case with most companies is like, if you're a really popular company, you have maybe 1 million candidates in your ATS or millions. And that person who applied for like a senior software engineer role 2 years ago may have enough experience now and have the track record that they're a good fit for the role at your company. You could go and source, ping 1,000 people on LinkedIn randomly and just say, hey, do you want to work at our company? But this person who applied in the past has explicitly expressed interest in working at your company. So focusing your sourcing efforts first on the candidates that applied in the past is a better strategy, I think. And one of the things that we will be able to help you do is, firstly, look at current data. Like, what is the current status of this applicant? Well, we can pull that in. And then when you open up a new job and we see that, instead of only your applicants showing up here who are current applicants, we could also show you, hey, is anyone in your ATS better than these people? Because maybe, there are 10 people that are actually better than all of the applicants you have. You probably want to focus first on reaching out to them. So it'll stack rank everyone that's ever applied for that position as well, which is should be pretty powerful, I think, for people.
Awesome.
There you go.
This is a fantastic platform. I think that there's a lot of tooling out there that can make everybody's life a little bit easier, make the recruiting experience a little bit better. And you should be rooting for something like this to be in the companies that you're applying for, to allow you to be able to be best seen. What's the future plan for you guys? I know you guys are working with some pretty large companies, some pretty well-known companies. What's the growth strategy for you look like, and what's been like building your company from scratch here?
Yeah. We've been fortunate to be getting the attention and working with some pretty big companies already. The focus is really to make this product as good as possible. Like, we want the AI to be as accurate as possible. We want it to know full context about all the candidates, so you can just make the best possible assessment. And I think focusing on less is the better way to do it, and just really laser in on making this thing great. So that's the plan for the foreseeable future first. And then, like I said, bringing in like past applicants, that's a decent sized initiative. But beyond that, we really want to just focus on executing on these current features first, and just make those perfect before kind of going further. But of course, as any entrepreneurs would, we have grand visions of all the directions this could go in. But I think focus is really important.
Awesome, man. Well, if you ever want some additional insight on the agency side, I'm sure Taylor and I would be more than happy to help you. But great product, man.
That would be amazing. Yeah, would love to jam with you guys on that sometime.
Sweet. All right. Well, y'all check it out. If you're a recruiting agency, or even a hiring, or even internal TA, or even if you're a small startup and you're just a hiring manager, I would check out Endorsed. Tell them you found them on Unicorn Finders. Otherwise, David, thank you, my friend. Stay on so we can say bye to you backstage. But y'all have a good one. And as long as my kid is not here, we'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Take care.